everyone! Pineapple here with episode 3 of the One Piece live action series 2 Whiskey Business. Of course, adapting the Whiskey Peak arc. Last time we had met more Baroque Works agents captured by our main characters. Smoker and Toshigi set out for the Grand Line, and we met Laboon, who made us all really depressed. So far we've had 2 really solid episodes, and I hope the hype train isn't stopping anytime soon. We start the episode inside Zoro's head as he trains his swordsmanship coolly, his own brain conjuring up Mihawk to belittle his attacks. And not only does this tell you some deeper things about Zoro's character and how hard the battle with Mihawk and his utter loss affected him, something that this episode really delves into. It's just a really cool way to include Mihawk in events before he returns post-Alabasta for a glorified cameo, and then Marineford. Since Stephen John Ward looks so good as him, it would be a waste, especially when we have to think about actors' availability and other things, so much like Bartolomeo and Brook, having him more involved without actually making story changes, in case the worst comes to pass and we don't go to Marineford. Zoro is awoken from his focus by a humorous Usopp gag, leading to some Mr. Nine whining and Sanji indulging in his culinary talents. And at the same time, just to show how strange the Grand Line is, the weather is changing so rapidly. Nami comes in from the sunny weather, which has now turned to rain, in a swimsuit top. And due to the positive and gross reactions, we should probably talk about this series in its relation to fan service. Now it's clear that as One Piece has gone along, Oda got bolder and bolder in his female character design. Some I disagree with, but ultimately most of it's harmless, and to me at least rarely detracts from the characters. But when it comes to real people, particularly the beautiful Emily Rudd, most people just enjoyed seeing a beautiful woman there on their screens. But some had to go the extra mile and claim things like it's a bad adaptation because they didn't cast someone with fucking J-cups, or they said things like, just wait till after the time skip. And it's all just ew, but most of it was on Twitter, so, you know, what do you expect? What we have this season is exactly the level of fan service this more general audience series should be going for, and not whatever the fuck this is. Jesus Christ. That was probably animated one hand at a time. My main point is people need to stop being so fucking weird. Stop comparing and complaining about women's bodies, comparing them to 2D characters, and for the love of God, stop using AI to edit her body. It's weird and gross, and I feel like the women in swim tops and having the guys shirtless every couple of episodes is the exact right amount of eye candy on both sides. Considering including Emily Rudd and at least 90% of the cast in general are just very attractive. Now snowing, Sanji and Usopp seize the day to have some fun while Luffy talks with Vivi. Luffy not really getting anywhere in his friendly questioning. Vivi not receptive even when clearly caught off guard by the captain offering the prisoner food. But not sensing any danger, he lets her go. Her taking the very first opportunity to free Mr. Nine and escape once the crew are distracted. Coming upon Cactus Island. And both now and later, before anyone learns the truth, it's kinda played like a loss. But he claims his gut is telling him that she won't hurt them, and then she doesn't, so
I see this as an absolute win.
even if he does doubt himself a little in the middle there.
Oh no.
Well, that's one way to take care of the problem.
We have a cool Whiskey Peak themed title card, and our crew enter the town. And although I already knew the twist, the switch up as they enter is obvious, but played very well. The use of Hercules' imposing stature turning to goofiness as the crew are welcomed, being a nice use of a mobile game character inclusion. Jesus, these showrunners really know how to get around that One Piece wiki. The crew are properly greeted by the mayor, Igaram, played by Yonda Thomas, who is a very good adaptation of the character and can play the sax like a champion. Sure, he's only here for this episode, although he may just make a surprise return next season, but we won't know if they've changed that till we get there. But here he plays all sides, welcoming, defensive, and resolute quite well while retaining goofy components. The crew are welcomed by the people into a massive dinner party, Igaram having explained that they welcome pirates and give them free shit in order to avoid having to fight anyone that comes through. Although the the obvious music sting does tell us that he has some sort of connection to the assassins. The crew happily settle into having fun as one of the season's great songs is given a rendition by the Saloon's band. And while yes, it is all revealed to be a facade, it is nice to see our crew get some happy downtime, reveling and enjoying themselves, each little scene we get having its own charm. But before that, we find Mr. 9 and Vivi in a back alley drying themselves off like wet cats. And while it's not really shown here completely, just hinted at, later on 9 and Vivi's relationship will get very interesting. I'm sad we don't get to see more of them considering these two scenes, and it's mostly the last one that made me endeared to them as partners. As I said before, we get nice little vignettes with the characters. Zoro is missing Sanji's attention.
Try this.
While Sanji shows off his bartending skills to impress the ladies. And you know they asked Taz if he could do that and he responded, "I can't, but give me a second, I'll put my health in danger in order to learn the skill perfectly." While Nami grifts some cash from a nun. A very lore-accurate Nami moment. Sanji is seduced by a pair of twins and I love his whipped attitude, quickly running off to Usopp ready to enjoy their company. Now some have made the point that Usopp and Kaya did kiss before he left in this version of events, making the funny yet obvious joke he really is his father's son. And initially I thought that complaint was silly, but re-watching, I'm not actually sure how I feel about the moral scale here. He is clearly interested in Kaya and she is too, but it's not like they're actually in a relationship. I vote that we just don't think about it too hard. Before Luffy runs off to a bakery, we also get a nice little scene between him and Zoro. Luffy giving him a pep talk addressing Zoro's obvious worries when it comes to getting stronger. Another way the episode gives interest into Zoro's mind, of course along with a literal image of his summit mocking him. After this, Luffy is caught in his gluttonous rampage by Igaram, who is surprised to learn, just as much as Luffy is, that Luffy and his crew actually help people, antithetical to most piratical philosophies. Wow, I put a lot of big words in that one. Unfortunately, their amicable conversation can't continue as Vivi walks in, revealing Igaram as Mr. 8, and they put Luffy to sleep so they can talk in private. And it's like the second of many times Luffy gets mind-addled this season, when it was meant to happen to Zoro here. Sure, it's not like we lose anything important, but it's strange Luffy gets it the most. Although, to be fair, if he started doing that in front of me, I'd be pretty distracted too. Nami manages to stumble upon the town's secret, a gravedigger-looking agent telling her all about the town's plans once she finds the corpses of the last pirates in town. The whole populace being Baroque Works, luring pirates in, and oh my god, the cactus spikes are graves. I genuinely was shocked by that. Did that happen in the anime? If it did, no idea how I forgot about that detail. Now that the plan is revealed, she wrecks him. Nice to see Nami going full badass in an episode mostly focused on Zoro. And speaking of fully badass moments, after she and Zoro talk and split up, he re-enters the bar, and as Mr. 9 psychs up all the rabble for a fight, Zoro ends up taking out every single agent in that bar. Now the scene goes on for a while as he absolutely wrecks the bar in some fantastic choreography. Seriously, this shit is impressive. Until Mr. 9 flees, Zoro taking out 92 people. The best moments being cutting the rope bridge, attacks where he spins as if emulating a Beyblade, let it rip! And him, while blind, launching a nun into the next room. He sees Mihawk and along the way manages to free the captured Usopp and Sanji. Meanwhile, Nami finds Luffy, taking his sweet time in stopping this ridiculous getaway car, as Vivi and Igaram plan on taking the Merry and fleeing. And this is one of those times I talked about Luffy's anger being weirdly done this season, as Luffy, enraged they would plan on stealing a member of his crew, instead of stopping the car before Nami finds him, or him reaching into the very much open car, he spends his time lightly banging on the windshield. I know Luffy is a bit of a dumbass, but come on. Luffy manages to figure out stopping the car is the best bet, but while Vivi and Igaram try a bid for peace, Luffy's anger...
We're trying to steal the Merry. We're trying to steal the Merry.
As endearing as it's being played now, is interrupted by the return of Valentine and Five. Apparently, Vivi and Igaram betrayed Baroque Works, so now Luffy and Nami are trapped in the middle of an assassination attempt. The two devil fruits are immediately shown well, Mr. Five's habit all the more gross in live action, while Valentine's floating and crashing while helped by obvious wirework is really well translated. The impact and weightlessness sold perfectly. Meanwhile, Zoro wastes Mr. Nine's personal guard and goes toe-to-toe with the Twink. Their fight entertaining but almost short-lived until the reappearance of the nun Nami screwed out of her cash, revealed to be Miss Monday. And while not really a three-dimensional character here, everything from the weight shown in her fighting, the adaptation of her outfit, and the gag of her character card being punted towards Zoro like a projectile all make for a cool character introduction, even if she doesn't last very long. But her efforts with Mr. Nine before they are pretty easily rendered unconscious are well done, and the so far resolution of Zoro's visions, him accepting that he'll have time to climb to Mihawk's level, is a nice takeaway. Meanwhile, thanks to one of Mr. Five's disgusting attacks, Igaram is left wounded, so he begs the Straw Hats to save the now revealed Princess of Alabasta. Baroque works after them for finding out Mr. Zero's identity to take him down. Nami of course haggles, but Luffy promises to take Vivi along, so Igaram buys them the time to escape, going out epically using his fantastic hair guns to distract, and is utterly blown to hell by Mr. Five. Now, in the anime, Igaram in fact survives the events of Whiskey Peak, but here I think it's safe to say that the Alabastan characters, perhaps even the infamous survivor from later on in the show, are now no longer immune to explosions. And while his death does make me sad, I do like that the assassin characters are actually killing people. As when you're targeted by a group of bloodthirsty assassins whose job it is to pull off assassinations, it ups the stakes to actually see people getting assassinated. Vivi and Nami have a nice scene as Nami comforts her after Igaram's spectacle of a death, but unfortunately I do have a bit of a complaint about this scene. It seems like their boat wasn't too far away, but between the CGI shots and village surroundings, once the characters are on location, the area really lacks a sense of consistency and scale, as sure, it's a big explosion, but the ship is seemingly close enough for Vivi to see Igaram's death to have such a sure reaction, while in a wide shot the village doesn't seem to be too far from the shore, but the ocean is unable to be seen from any of the village location shots. It really bugged me once I noticed it, especially when I think the original has the village cut in half by the waterway. By the morning, Five and Valentine are still looking around and find Mr. Nine, and wow, he reminds them that they're next on the chopping block and that he won't sell Vivi out. Now, he was betrayed well before this, but I'm not going to pretend like he wasn't annoying, probably by design, so for him to come around, defend Vivi, and tell them to get fucked is a fantastic character moment that really makes me sad he's implied to be killed. When in the original, he lives in happy matrimony with Miss Monday, so I do hope if Igaram stays dead, Nine can recover for an epilogue scene next season, as I don't think we see Miss Monday's condition. The episode ends with the crew once again traveling to the next island. Luffy is now justified in his gut feeling that Vivi needed help. Sanji is somehow deluded into thinking he had a chance.
Look, I thought we had a real connection before she pulled the knife out, alright?
I think I'm never following you anywhere ever again.
You can say whatever you want, okay? She was interested.
Yes, in stabbing you.
And just before Vivi can reveal the identity of Mr. Zero to the Straw Hats, we're left on a cliffhanger, as Miss All Sunday pops in, allowing us to enjoy the jazz in the ending credits. So that was Whiskey Business, a pretty good adaptation of the Whiskey Peak arc, cutting out all the unnecessary crap like the Zoro and Luffy fight, but absolutely delivering when it came to the action side of things. And a very good introduction to the real side of Vivi. Five and Valentine are now built up with personal stakes, seemingly killing Igaram and Mr. Nine to lead into their appearances next episode, and while Sanji and Usopp were rendered useless, at least for an in-character reason, well, definitely with Sanji, I'm still confused on the Usopp point, but Luffy, Nami and Zoro all got their focus, whether in nice character moments like Luffy, or kicking ass and making plans like Nami and Zoro. And next we have Little Garden, and the beautiful Miss All Sunday to contend with. But if this episode was any indication, I think we're in safe hands. Thank you everybody for watching watching my review of One Piece Season 2 Episode 3 Whiskey Business. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish, consider subscribing to the channel if you do, ring the notification bell so that you're told every single time that I make an upload. Once again, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next review. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.